Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I posted a literal live set from the home team when they played over this weekend. So check our Facebook. I posted that video on there, and I'll be doing more live streaming stuff in the weeks to come for Warped Tour, things of that nature. And just let me know what you think in terms of videos that you want to see in terms of Warped videos. I'd love to get an idea of what you guys want, as well as more album reviews to come this week that I'm really excited to get out, along with some really great interviews too. But tonight we're going to be talking about Dwelling's new record, Lavender Town. I've been a fan of this band for a little bit. I've heard, rummagings about this band for a little bit, and I was really stoked to get this a little bit early, so shout outs to Tragic Hero Records for shooting me this over a bit earlier than the release. First of all, love the name of the album because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so it kind of is right up my alley. But I'm gonna go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on them all, some pros and cons, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is called Pink Noise. Really digging this sort of darker, more minor undertones of this track. The singing has this really interesting flair to it, almost kind of riding the lines of Kurt Travis, Tillian, some other vocalists. I even feel like Donovan's a little bit mixed in there from Hail the Sun. Just kind of a culmination of different vocalists, but also at the same time having its own unique sort of flair and vibe to it, which is always great. I think the guitar work is really sick in this track. Speaking about much of the rest of the record as well, I think the guitar work is on par. Definitely digging the screams as well. They are kind of fleshed out throughout this record. I wouldn't say there's a ton of screaming, but I wouldn't say there's a lack of it either. I think there's tracks that definitely need it in it, and there's some that I would have loved to hear some screaming along with it. But getting back to this track, I really enjoyed that part of it, while it being kind of on the shorter end, which most of these songs are pretty long. That's really great, short and sweet and to the point, I would say. Overall, I think it's a really great opener track, and it is one of my favorites off the record. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is Sins as Wonders. This one is one of my favorites as well. It goes through a few different genre changing, which is really cool, and I think it keeps it interesting, considering that the song is about a little over 5 minutes in length, which, again, being from sort of the longer end of tracks, I think that this one works out very well. It kept my attention, and it's definitely one of those songs that I knew exactly what song was coming up next. The vocals were just able to be more expressive. I'd say more expressive than Pink Noise for sure. The range is pretty expensive as well. It has some really great mids, some lows, not too many highs, but they're in there as well. And the instrumentation just progresses as the song goes on, which is really great because I think the guitar work is definitely the highlight of this song. I really like how it kind of goes into almost like an Egyptian sort of flair to it, but also has some, obviously post-hardcore elements. It's just got that exotic tinge to it, which is really cool, and I don't really hear a lot of bands do that too often, so it's definitely something to point out. So we're moving the track number 3, which is Foreverist. This one was one of the singles. I don't know when it was released. I know that they released 4 singles off this record so far. But I like how this one has a cool flow to it. It's got a neat groove to it as well. It's a bit more reserved than the previous tracks that I was talking about earlier. And it kind of plays off more of the openness of the song, which kind of contrasts the first 2 songs off this record. I definitely feel like this song was more of a platform for the vocals to shine for sure. I feel like the guitar work, even the drum work, the bass work is just a little bit more reserved, so the vocals can kind of take more of the lead role in this song. Pretty straightforward in terms of just writing style, and what you kind of can expect from Dwellings, and I think that it was an overall good track, but there wasn't too many things that kind of stuck out to me in this one. So we're gonna move into track number 4, which is Lemonade. This one is another single and is also another one of my favorites. Digging the sort of more ambient, spacious vibes of this track, very kind of riding lines of Hail the Sun, and even sort of other songcore bands like Idola, Adventure, things of that nature, which is really great. The guitar is definitely getting back to the guitar work. I feel like this is definitely the main focus, and which is really cool. Just kind of reacting with the singing in different ways. I think it works out really well. The bridge is probably my favorite part of this track. It's definitely ear catching, and I definitely like the sort of faster vibes of this song overall. So we're gonna move into track number 5, which is The Color of the Cat Tree. This one is another favorite of mine. I just have so many favorites so far because I think it's really interesting. But getting back to this track, digging the more darker acoustic intro. The song definitely has some aggressive points within the song as it progresses. The breakdown in the middle of the song really kind of solidifies that more aggressive tonality at the 2 minutes and 30-second mark to around the 3-minute mark of the song. And I think it's definitely keeps the song interesting, being 6+ minutes. I think this is the longest song off the record, and I think that's really impressive as a smaller band to kind of keep the attention of people who listen to a lot of music for a 6-minute song. I think that any band should get any sort of kudos for that, but more specifically this band, I think they did a phenomenal job with this one. It's a great combination of heavy, melodic, and sort of darker undertones explored throughout this record. I think that this is the most exploratory, but there are some other tracks off this record that I think have some darker undertones as well. So we're going to move into track number 6, which is See It Through. This one is another single. They released a music video with this one, and man, does this track vibe. I'm telling you, this is easily the best track I've heard off of this record. I think that the instrumentals are A1, and it's got this really cool balance and groove to it, and I like how you can really pick out the bass in the verses of the track. Definitely my favorite all-around track. I think that they did everything phenomenally, both vocally and instrumentally. I think they really kind of killed it on it. Vocally, I think that they were really expansive with it. They took a lot of risk, but I think it paid off because it just works well. It's almost got that like sort of R&B soul vibe to it, which is really cool. And it's got that really great funk vibe to it as well. The structure changes a lot, but I think it works well with the song, again being on the longer end of the scale. I think it's closer to 5 minutes. Really works out. The vocal layering is really great too. I think that the way that they were adding the vocals in and kind of layering them on top of each other just play along with this one so well. I think that they did everything perfectly on this track, and I couldn't be more stoked that this was one of the singles and that you guys are able to hear it. So we're gonna move into track number 7, which is Ordinary Destruction. This, in terms of vocals, gives me that sort of Andrew Wells from Idola sort of runs and just vocal prowess. Feels very much along the lines of what he does. Instrumentation is really interesting as well. I feel like the guitar work is a little bit more laid back in the verses and kind of turns up the gain a little bit in the choruses, and the vocals are definitely the highlight, much like in Foreverest. I feel like the vocals are definitely the main focal point, and the guitar work kind of takes a little bit of a backseat. I would say a little bit less than Foreverest. I feel like Foreverest is definitely a little bit more, is way more reserved in that aspect, and this one kind of takes it, and the guitar works a little bit more at the forefront. So we're gonna move into track number 8, which is Snake Charmer. This is another single that has been released as well and is one of my favorite tracks off the record. Sorry, my notebook kind of was slipping over here. But the guitar melody and the lead lines definitely got stuck in my head throughout this track, and even prior to the release of this album, or me getting it earlier. Just really great thought provoking lines that I was like, that's wonderful. I love it. Definitely digging the overall groove and vibe of the track. It has a bit more aggression towards the backing of the song, which is really great. I think that Ordinary Destruction kind of took a little bit of a backseat in terms of that, as and the same with maybe See It Through, even though there's some parts where there's a little bit more aggressive tonalities throughout the track, but this one really works. Definitely the strongest track in terms of structure and just everything flowing together with no sort of friction. I think that it is really just well put together. I think it's really impressive how they are able to kind of take those melodic moments and really have them shine, but also have some really aggressive sort of heavy moments to kind of counteract that. They really balance everything well in this track, and I would say that this is the most balanced track off the record, without a doubt, and is one of my favorites too. So we're moving to track number 9, which is Codfish Joe. This is the most recent single to my knowledge, and there's definitely a fair amount of screaming. I think that there's like maybe like 60-40. I think there's definitely a little bit more screaming in this one, but it doesn't come until mainly the latter half of the track. Definitely digging the cool melodies, and certain parts definitely remind me a lot of Dance Gavin Dance, especially in the screams department. I feel like their screamer slash singer, I think he does both, kind of reminds me a lot of John Mess's screams. So definitely got those sorts of vibes from this track. I think it's a solid track, definitely probably closer to my least favorites in terms of the singles, and probably one of my least favorite off the record. But that's kind of tough. I think it's all really solid. Just maybe didn't strike me as much as the other tracks. So we're moving to the last track, which is ATM, which is At the Moment. This one is really interesting. It has a cool acoustic vibe to it, just acoustics and vocals. The vocals really have this unique like sort of flair to it. It's really hard to explain, just the way that the vocal cadence kind of comes out, the runs, they're very unique to this track, and I think that they really kind of experimented on this one. It may be a little bit too much at two times, but I think overall it really works out. They definitely have an interesting flow and vibe about them. The guitar work is sick. I love the guitar lines on this track. I think that they're phenomenal, and I'd love to see how this kind of plays out live. It is a nice track to end off the record with for sure. But if you're expecting kind of more of an aggressive track, maybe Snake Charmer is definitely the one that they could have went with maybe for the last track off the record. But some pros and cons. I think that they took a lot of elements of that sort of swancore genre of music. I know that that terminology has been thrown around for to kind of label what musical things are going on in this music scene, but I think they really kind of do something unique, and it's very hard to find something unique and interesting about a post-hardcore band, but also have that sort of vibe of, you know, the Dance Gavin Dance crew, and that's really it's really cool to hear just a different vocal styling, not like a higher pitched voice like, you know, Tillian's, or like kind of like mid-range like Kurt Travis. I think that this vocalist has definitely a different perspective and a different approach to how he does the vocal lines, and you can definitely tell in the songwritings of the song. I think instrumentally this band is top tier, up there with some of my favorites. Even Dance Gavin Dance, I think they could give them a run for their money in terms of guitar work. But I really enjoyed these tracks, this record. I think it is really great. I think that if you are a fan of any of those sorts of bands that I mentioned, Idola, Hail the Sun, Stolas, Adventure, Wolf and Bear, Dance Gavin Dance, of course, CMVAR, whatever project that kind of falls under that sort of umbrella of bands. I definitely feel like you'll enjoy it a lot, if not this whole record from this band, and I am super proud that they are signed to Tragic Heroes. I think that they are going to be doing a really good thing for them, and you should definitely go give this one a listen if you get the chance to. I don't have any cons about it. I think it is really solid from front to back, and it's definitely one you should go check out. So my overall rating for Dwellings Lavender Town, I'm going to be giving it a 9.6 out of 10. I think it is really thought-provoking. It's very thought out, methodical, and just the vibes of the track really are totally different from what you would expect from this sort of genre and umbrella of bands like that I mentioned earlier. So definitely go give this one a listen. It comes out this Friday, so go pick it up on Tragic Hero. Go support these guys, because I'll definitely be picking up a CD without a doubt. So let me know in the comments what you think about the single so far, as well as what you think or hope for the record to be. I'm excited to hear what you guys think about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, hit that subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and share it around. It goes a long way. And thanks again to Tragic Hero Records for sending me this record over with. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.